I think there's signs there that will be encouraging for Liverpool, of course. You talked about Nunez's impact off the bench. I doubt he'll be on the bench next week. He'll start their next game. They obviously were trying to bed him in and see what his fitness was like, but he looked so sharp. I thought it was really interesting that his goal, he took it incredibly well. He lifts the ball. And if you noticed, 2 minutes earlier, exactly the same chance comes in for him. Salah gets down that wing, puts the ball across the 6-yard box, and he tries that exact flick along the ground, and the keeper saves it. He does it again, and he manages to lift it over the keeper. And that, to me, the intelligence and the movement and that connection on only his third, fourth game for Liverpool, that's a brilliant sign. So you can't say Liverpool are written off. You also can't say that Fulham are safe from this. To be honest, it was not the result I think anyone would have expected. Fulham answered a lot of critics early in the season. We know Marco Silva is a decent coach, and he's clearly developed some really good players there. And their tactics were just spot on in this game. And the shortcomings of Liverpool were exactly the ones that we potentially could have foreseen at the start of the season. They had a midfielder go off injured. They lack depth in midfield. Trent Alexander-Arnold can't defend. And those things were what cost them in this game. So massive credit to Fulham, particularly Mitrovic and his performance. I wonder if this might spark something in the transfer market for Liverpool to try and make sure they don't lose ground on City, because this should be a wake-up call for them.
It's strange to see Liverpool start the season 2-0 when I think in this game in particular, you'd almost written it off in your head as being 3 points in the bag. But Dave, that wasn't to be the case. It was a good comeback, to be fair. Darwin Núñez adds a really interesting option from the bench, doesn't he?
Liverpool can be quite, consider them quite fortunate, really, to come away from the game with anything, because I thought Fulham was much the better team.
That's saying quite a bit, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people have written Fulham off already as early season relegation candidates. That might still prove to be the case. And as I said at the start, it's easy to blow these kind of first games out of proportion, isn't it? And look at them into too much detail. So we won't overanalyze the meaning of it for both teams. But is it too early to talk about title race yet? Is it too early to think, well, that's 2 points drop for Liverpool, do you think, Myles?
It's not too early, because that is the kind of numbers that these two teams post, where any points dropped are significant in the race. Normally, City are the slow starters, and they tend to build momentum through the season. We've seen that over the last 2 years. So Liverpool will have wanted to set the benchmark here, and particularly at a newly promoted side, this should have been a pretty favourable fixture.